The full moon hung heavy over the Silvercrest Kingdom, casting silver ribbons across the sacred grounds where hundreds of wolves had gathered. Luna stood at the edge of the ceremonial circle, her heart thundering against her ribs as she watched her fated mate, Beta Marcus of the Northwind Pack, stride toward the raised platform where Alpha King Demon presided over the annual mate recognition ceremony. She had felt the bond snap into place 3 months ago, that undeniable pull that whispered of destiny and forever. Marcus had smiled at her then, touched her face with gentle fingers, and promised her everything. Tonight, before the assembled packs of 5 kingdoms, he would claim her publicly, binding their souls under the witness of the moon goddess herself. Luna smoothed her simple white dress, aware of how plain it looked compared to the silks and jewels adorning the she-wolves around her. As an Omega, the lowest rank in pack hierarchy, she had saved for months to afford even this modest gown, but Marcus had sworn it didn't matter. He had sworn she was enough. "Let the recognition begin," Alpha King Demon's voice rolled across the gathering like thunder, deep and commanding. He sat upon the ancient stone throne, his massive frame draped in ceremonial furs, his silver eyes scanning the crowd with the weight of absolute authority. At 32, he was the most powerful alpha in living memory, having united the fractured kingdoms through strength and ruthless justice, unmated, untouchable, a legend carved from moonlight and violence. Luna barely noticed him. Her eyes were locked on Marcus as he climbed the platform steps, his handsome face illuminated by torchlight. This was their moment, the beginning of their forever. Marcus stopped before the king, bowed with the proper deference, then turned to face the assembled wolves. His voice rang clear and strong across the ceremonial grounds. "I, Beta Marcus of Northwind Pack, stand before the moon goddess and the Alpha King to recognize my fated mate." Luna's breath caught. She took a trembling step forward, ready to join him on the platform as tradition demanded. "I recognize Lady Sienna of the Crystal Valley Pack as my chosen mate and future Luna." The words hit Luna like physical blows. The world tilted, sounds became muffled, and she watched in frozen horror as a stunning she-wolf in crimson silk glided forward. Sienna, daughter of one of the wealthiest alphas in the Southern Territories, her dark hair cascading down her back, her smile triumphant. "No." The word escaped Luna's lips as a broken whisper. "No, we're fated, the bond—" "Silence, Omega." Marcus's voice cracked like a whip, and his eyes, those eyes that had looked at her with such tenderness, now held nothing but cold disdain. "Did you actually believe I would claim you? A packless Omega with no family, no status, no worth?" He laughed, and the sound shredded something vital in Luna's chest. "You were practice, a amusing distraction, nothing more." Laughter rippled through sections of the crowd. Luna felt hundreds of eyes on her, felt the weight of their mockery and pity crushing down on her shoulders. Tears burned hot trails down her cheeks. "But the bond—" She tried again, her voice breaking. "The bond can be ignored when one mate is so clearly inferior." Sienna's voice dripped with poisoned honey as she took Marcus's arm. "Really, Omega? Did you think a beta of his standing would saddle himself with damaged goods? Look at you, you're practically a rogue." Luna's legs trembled. She wanted to run, to disappear into the forest and never return, but her body wouldn't obey. The rejection burned through her like silver poisoning, the severed bond sending waves of agony through her chest. She gasped, stumbling, her hand clutching at her heart as if she could physically hold the pieces together. "Pathetic," someone muttered from the crowd. She should have known better. Omegas always aim above their station. The voices blurred together, a chorus of condemnation. Luna fell to her knees on the hard-packed earth, unable to breathe through the pain. This couldn't be happening. The moon goddess wouldn't be this cruel. Fated mates were sacred. They were enough. The single word from Alpha King Demon silenced the entire gathering instantly. The laughter died. The whispers ceased. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Luna looked up through tear-blurred vision to see the king rising from his throne, his massive form uncoiling with predatory grace. His silver eyes had darkened to mercury, and the air around him crackled with barely contained power. When an Alpha King commanded, the wolf in every creature present bowed instinctively. He descended the platform steps, each footfall deliberate and heavy. The crowd parted before him like water before a ship's prow. Luna remained frozen on her knees, unable to move, unable to think beyond the screaming pain of her broken bond. King Demon stopped directly in front of her, so close she could smell cedar and night air and something wild that made her wolf whimper, not in fear, but in recognition of absolute dominance. "Stand," he commanded softly. Luna tried. Her legs shook violently, and she barely made it halfway before she swayed, darkness creeping at the edges of her vision. She was falling, the ground rushing up to meet her face. Strong arms caught her mid-collapse, cradling her against a chest that felt like heated marble. Luna gasped, her senses suddenly overwhelmed by the king's scent, by the raw power radiating from his body, by the strange sense of safety that enveloped her, despite every logical reason to be terrified. "I have you," King Demon murmured, his voice pitched for her ears alone. Then louder, addressing the assembly, "This Omega is under my direct protection. Anyone who mocks her, threatens her, or causes her further harm will answer to me personally. Is that understood?" The response was immediate and unanimous. "Yes, Alpha King." Luna looked up at him, confused and overwhelmed, meeting those mercurial eyes that seemed to see straight through to her soul. Why was he doing this? Why would the most powerful Alpha in 5 kingdoms care about a broken Omega he'd never met? "Your Majesty," Marcus's voice held an edge of panic now. "I don't understand. She's just an Omega. Surely you're not—" "You rejected your fated mate publicly, severing a bond blessed by the moon goddess herself, and you did so with calculated cruelty." King Demon's voice dropped to a lethal growl that raised every hair on Luna's body. "You are stripped of your beta title, effective immediately. You and your chosen mate are banished from Silvercrest territory. You have until sunrise to leave my lands." Sienna's gasp of outrage cut through the shocked silence. "You can't! We did nothing wrong. She's an Omega." "She is a wolf blessed by the goddess with a fated bond, and that bond was violated in the most sacred space of our kingdom." The king's eyes blazed with cold fury. "Be grateful I'm allowing you to leave with your lives. Guards, escort them to the border." As royal guards moved forward to flank the stunned couple, King Demon looked down at Luna, still cradled in his arms. "Can you walk?" She nodded weakly, though she wasn't certain. He set her on her feet carefully, keeping one hand on her elbow to steady her. The simple touch sent sparks racing across her skin, momentarily eclipsing even the bond-break pain. "Come," he said quietly. "You will stay in the palace tonight, under my protection, until we determine your path forward." Luna wanted to argue, wanted to refuse out of pride, but she had nowhere else to go. She was packless, alone and shattered. So she simply nodded and let the Alpha King guide her through the parting crowd, acutely aware of every whisper, every shocked stare. What had just happened? And why did walking beside this terrifying, powerful male feel less like being rescued and more like stepping into a fate far more complicated than the one she'd just lost? Chapter 2. The royal court. Luna woke to silk sheets and morning light filtering through floor-to-ceiling windows. For one blissful moment, she forgot everything. Then the previous night crashed back with brutal clarity. The rejection, the humiliation. King Demon catching her as she fell. She sat up slowly, her chest aching with phantom pain from the severed bond. The room around her was breathtaking. High ceilings painted with celestial murals, furniture carved from dark wood inlaid with silver, and everywhere the subtle scent of cedar that she was beginning to associate with the king himself. A knock at the door made her tense. "Come in," she called, her voice hoarse. A middle-aged she-wolf in elegant servant's attire entered, carrying a tray laden with food. "Good morning, Miss Luna. I'm Helena, head of the royal household. His Majesty instructed me to ensure you're comfortable and to bring you to the throne room when you're ready." Her tone was respectful, no trace of the contempt Luna had grown accustomed to receiving as an Omega. "The throne room?" Luna's stomach knotted with anxiety. "Don't worry, child. The king wishes only to speak with you." Helena set the tray on a nearby table, her expression kind. "Eat first. You'll need your strength." Luna forced herself to eat, though the food tasted like ash in her mouth. When she finished, Helena led her through corridors of impossible grandeur, marble floors polished to mirrors, tapestries depicting legendary battles, windows overlooking forests that stretched to distant mountains. The throne room doors were massive things of carved oak and iron. Guards pulled them open, revealing a space that stole Luna's breath. The ceiling soared overhead, supported by columns etched with ancient pack symbols. At the far end, elevated on a dais of black stone, sat the throne, and upon it King Demon. He wore formal attire today, dark leather pants, a tunic embroidered with silver thread, and a fur-lined cloak that emphasized the breadth of his shoulders. His silver eyes tracked Luna's approach with an intensity that made her wolf stir nervously. Luna stopped at the appropriate distance and dropped into a low bow. "Your Majesty." "Rise, Luna." His voice was gentler than she expected. "Come closer. We have much to discuss." She obeyed, climbing the dais steps until she stood mere feet from the throne. This close, she could see the small scars marking his hands, the sharp intelligence in his gaze, the way he watched her with something that looked almost like concern. "How do you feel?" he asked. The question surprised her into honesty. "Like I've been torn in half. The bond breaking, it's like dying slowly." King Demon nodded, his expression darkening. "I'm familiar with the sensation. My fated mate died when I was 23, killed in a border raid before I could claim her. The bond snapped like a chain pulled too tight." Luna's breath caught. She hadn't known. "I'm sorry, Your Majesty, I didn't mean to—" "You have nothing to apologize for. I tell you this so you understand that I know your pain is real, and I take it seriously." He leaned forward, his elbows resting on his knees, making himself somehow less intimidating despite his obvious power. "Last night, you were publicly humiliated by a male who should have treasured you. The bond rejection could have killed you if you'd been more fragile. I want to know what you need." Luna blinked, confused. I don't understand." "Do you have family? A pack that will take you in? Resources to start fresh elsewhere?" Each question felt like a knife, because the answer to all of them was the same. "No, Your Majesty. I have nothing and no one." Something flickered in his eyes, anger perhaps, or pity. "Then I offer you sanctuary here in the royal court. You may serve in the palace. Take time to heal, and when you're ready I will help you establish yourself wherever you wish. You have my word." Luna stared at him, searching for the trap. Alphas, especially kings, didn't help Omegas out of kindness. "Why are you doing this? I'm nobody. Less than nobody after last night. You're a wolf of my kingdom, who was wronged in a sacred space under my protection." King Damon's voice hardened. "And you're wrong about being nobody. Your fated mate was blessed to have you. He was simply too foolish and ambitious to recognize it." The words spoken with such conviction made Luna's eyes burn with fresh tears. "I don't deserve your kindness. You deserve far more than you've been given." He stood then, descending from the throne to stand before her. He was massive this close, his presence overwhelming, yet Luna didn't feel afraid. "Stay, Luna, at least until you heal. Then we'll determine your path forward together." She wanted to refuse out of pride, but where would she go? What would she do? So she nodded, surrendering to the only kindness anyone had shown her in years. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I accept your offer." "Good." A small smile touched his lips, transforming his harsh features into something almost gentle. "And while you're here, you will address me as Demon when we're in private. I have enough formality in my life. I couldn't possibly—" "That's an order, Luna." The smile widened slightly. "Can you follow orders?" Despite everything, she felt her lips quirk. "Yes, Demon." "Excellent. Helena will show you to your permanent quarters and explain your duties, your work in the Royal Library, cataloguing texts. The work is quiet, solitary, and will give you space to heal without constant interaction." He paused. "If you need anything at all, you come directly to me, understood?" Luna nodded, overwhelmed by his unexpected compassion. As Helena appeared to escort her away, Luna risked one last glance back at the king. He stood watching her, his expression unreadable, but his eyes holding something that made her chest tighten in a way that had nothing to do with bond break pain. What was happening here? And why did she feel like her life had just tilted onto a completely unexpected path? Chapter 3. Moonlit Revelations. 3 weeks passed like a strange dream. Luna worked in the vast royal library, surrounded by ancient texts and comfortable silence. She catalogued manuscripts about pack laws, lunar cycles and territorial histories, losing herself in work that demanded nothing emotionally. Her chest still ached where the bond had been, but the sharp agony had faded to a dull throb. King Demon as he insisted when they were alone, visited the library often, too often to be coincidence. He would appear in the evening moving through the stacks with silent grace, and they would talk. About books, about pack politics, about nothing and everything. Luna found herself relaxing around him in ways she never had with Marcus, found herself laughing at his dry observations, found herself watching the door in anticipation of his arrival. Tonight, he'd asked her to join him on the palace balcony overlooking the royal gardens. Luna stood beside him now, acutely aware of how close they were standing, how the moonlight painted silver highlights in his dark hair. "You've been healing," Demon observed, not looking at her. "The shadows under your eyes are fading." "Thanks to your kindness," Luna gripped the balcony railing. "I'll never be able to repay you for what you've done." "I don't want repayment." Now he did look at her, those mercury eyes intense. "I want to know if you're ready to hear truth." Luna's heart stuttered. "What truth?" Demon turned to face her fully, his expression serious. "The night of the ceremony when I caught you, I felt something impossible. I don't understand." "A bond, Luna. The beginning of a fated mate bond." He said it quietly, like a confession. "With you." Luna's mind went blank with shock. That's not possible. You can't have two fated mates. The moon goddess doesn't." "The goddess works in mysterious ways." Demon's jaw tightened. "I've spent 3 weeks trying to convince myself I imagined it, that it was just protective instinct or misplaced sympathy. But every day the pull grows stronger. Every time I'm near you, my wolf recognizes his mate." Luna stepped back, her hands shaking. No, I can't. I just escaped one bond that destroyed me. I can't." "I'm not asking you to accept it." Demon's voice remained steady, calm, despite the weight of what he was saying. "I'm only telling you the truth because you deserve honesty. What you do with that information is entirely your choice." "Why me?" Luna's voice broke. "I'm an Omega. You're a king. This makes no sense." "Neither did the goddess pairing you with a beta who couldn't see your worth." Demon moved closer, not touching her, but near enough that she could feel his warmth. "I've been king for 10 years, Luna. I've met thousands of wolves, beautiful she-wolves from powerful families who would kill for the chance to be my queen. Not one of them made my wolf stir. Not one of them made me feel anything beyond political calculation." He paused. "Then you fell broken and devastated, and I caught you, and for the first time since my first mate died, I felt the bond snap into place." Tears streamed down Luna's face. "I'm terrified." "I know." Demon's hand came up slowly, giving her time to pull away, and gently wiped the tears from her cheek. The touch sent sparks racing across her skin, and Luna gasped at the intensity. "I'm not Marcus. I will never reject you, never humiliate you, never make you feel less than you are. But I also won't force this bond on you. If you want to leave, I'll help you start a new life wherever you choose. If you want to stay as my librarian and nothing more, I'll accept that. The choice is yours, Luna. It's always yours." Luna looked up at him, this powerful, terrifying king who had shown her more gentleness than anyone in her life, and felt something crack open in her chest, where the broken bond had left scar tissue. "I don't know how to trust this," she whispered. "I don't know how to trust anything anymore." "Then don't trust it yet." Demon's thumb traced her cheekbone with devastating tenderness. "Just stay. Give yourself time. Give us time. Let the bond grow naturally, at your pace, on your terms. And if I never feel ready, then I'll cherish whatever friendship you're willing to give me and count myself blessed for knowing you at all." His smile was sad but genuine. You've already brought more light into my life than I've had in years, Luna. That's enough. It shouldn't have been possible to fall for someone so quickly, especially while still healing from such devastating rejection. But looking into Demon's eyes, feeling the gentle truth of the bond humming beneath her skin, Luna realized that maybe the moon goddess had been guiding her all along, not toward Marcus, but through him to get here, to this balcony, this moment, this male who saw her worth when she couldn't see it herself. "I want to try," she heard herself say. "I'm terrified and broken and probably insane, but I want to try." Demon's expression transformed, raw hope blazing across his features. "You mean that?" "I mean that I want to see where this bond leads, slowly, carefully." Luna managed a trembling smile. "Is that enough?" "More than enough." Demon pulled her into his arms, holding her with exquisite care, as if she were something precious and fragile. Luna buried her face in his chest, breathing in cedar and moonlight, and felt the bond surge stronger, warm and golden where the old one had been cold and brittle. Maybe she had been meant to break so she could be rebuilt into something stronger. Maybe rejection had been the path to true acceptance. Maybe the moon goddess had been leading her home all along. Chapter 4. The True Queen. The challenge came on the night of the full moon, exactly 1 month after Luna's rejection. She stood beside Demon in the same ceremonial grounds where her world had shattered, wearing a gown of midnight blue that the king had commissioned specifically for her. The assembled Pax whispered as Demon addressed them, his hand warm and steady on the small of her back. "Tonight I announce my intention to take Luna as my mate and queen," Demon declared, his voice carrying across the sacred space. "The moon goddess has blessed us with a fated bond, and I claim her before you all with pride and joy." The response was mixed. Some wolves howled approval, others murmured in shock. Omegas weren't supposed to become queens. It violated the natural hierarchy. It was unprecedented. Luna held her head high, refusing to show the fear coiling in her gut. Then a figure emerged from the crowd, and Luna's blood turned to ice. Marcus. He looked haggard, his clothes dirty, his eyes wild. Sienna trailed behind him, her once pristine beauty marred by exhaustion and desperation. "I challenge this bonding," Marcus snarled. "She was mine first. The goddess paired us and I have the right to reclaim her." Demon's growl shook the ground. "You rejected her publicly and severed the bond. You have no claim." "I was wrong." Marcus's voice cracked with desperation. "I see that now. Sienna's family disowned us when we were banished. We have nothing. But Luna, she's fated to me. That bond still exists beneath the surface. It can be rekindled if she accepts me again." Luna stared at him, seeing clearly for the first time. He didn't want her. He wanted the status she could give him now. He wanted to be king's consort, to restore his position. The male who had broken her heart so casually now stood before her, begging, and she felt nothing. No love, no pain, just pity. "No," she said clearly. "I reject you, Marcus. Completely and forever. Whatever bond we once had is dead. You can't. You're an Omega." "You need me." Marcus lunged forward, but Demon moved faster, his body a wall between Luna and her former mate. "Touch her and die," Demon said softly, lethally. "She's mine." Marcus's eyes blazed with desperate fury. "I'll prove it. I challenge you for her, Alpha King. By ancient law, the original fated mate has the right to challenge for reclamation." The crowd gasped. Demon's expression went cold and predatory. "You challenge me?" His voice dropped to a deadly purr. "An exiled beta with no pack and no honor challenges the Alpha King? Do you understand what you're asking for?" "I understand I'm fighting for my mate." Marcus stripped off his shirt, his body already beginning to shift. "I won't let you steal what's mine." Luna grabbed Demon's arm. "Don't do this. He's not worth it." He issued a formal challenge in sacred space. Demon's eyes had gone completely silver, his wolf rising to the surface. "I must answer, or my authority is undermined. But don't worry, love. This won't take long." The two males shifted, the transformation rippling through them, Demon into a massive silver-grey wolf the size of a small horse, Marcus into something much smaller, and already cowering despite his bravado. What followed wasn't a fight. It was a lesson. Demon moved with terrifying speed, his jaws closing around Marcus's throat. Not biting, just holding, demonstrating the ease with which he could kill. Marcus whimpered, going limp in submission. After a long moment, Demon released him and shifted back, not even breathing hard. "You are banished from all 5 kingdoms," Demon declared, his voice resonating with absolute authority. "If you ever return, if you ever speak Luna's name again, I will finish what I started here. Now run, Beta, and count yourself fortunate I'm merciful tonight." Marcus scrambled away, Sienna fleeing beside him, both of them disappearing into the forest. Demon turned to Luna, his expression softening as he cupped her face. "Are you all right?" "I should ask you that." But she was smiling, her heart soaring with relief and something deeper. "My protector. My king. Your mate," Demon corrected gently. "If you'll have me." Luna looked around at the assembled wolves, hundreds of them watching this impossible Omega, who had risen from public rejection to stand beside the most powerful alpha alive. She thought about fate, about the moon goddess's strange paths, about how sometimes we had to break completely to find our true strength. "I'll have you," she said clearly, her voice carrying across the sacred grounds. Luna, formerly Packless Omega, accept Demon as my fated mate and king. Before the moon goddess and all assembled packs, I claim him as mine." The words were barely out before Demon kissed her, deep and claiming and tender all at once. The bond blazed between them, golden and unbreakable, and Luna felt the last pieces of her shattered heart fuse back together, stronger than before, tempered by pain into something resilient and true. When they finally broke apart, Demon rested his forehead against hers. "My queen, my Luna, my everything." "I love you," Luna whispered, meaning it with every fiber of her being. "I loved you from the moment I caught you falling." Demon smiled, that rare, genuine expression that transformed his harsh features. "And I'll spend eternity making sure you never fall again, unless I'm there to catch you." The assembled packs howled their approval, the sound rising to the full moon overhead. Luna turned in Demon's arms, looking out at the wolves who had witnessed both her greatest humiliation and her ultimate triumph, and knew with perfect certainty that she was exactly where the moon goddess had always intended her to be. Not in the arms of a Beta who saw only her rank, but beside a king who saw her soul.